Hello everybody, and welcome back to Amateur Hour Projects. Today we're going to take a look at... Oh, crud. I don't have enough room. So today we're going to take a look at the Ghostbusters ECTO-1 Lego car. So this is going to be a large project that we're going to be doing here today. It's got 2,352 pieces to it. And from what I understand, it's going to be quite large. The dimensions here are 18.5 inches or 47 centimeters by 8.5 inches or 22 centimeters. So it's going to be quite large. Let's go ahead and open this up. We'll take a look inside. Alright, let's take a look. So we've got quite a few bags here to deal with. They're all numbered, thankfully. And oh goodness, it's a booklet. Oh, and some stickers. Nice. Alright, so this is quite the hefty booklet. Looks like it's got some neat little things in it. And this is going to definitely take us some time. Alright, I'm going to set some of these aside and start going through them in order from the book. And we'll just get going. So sorting this out wasn't that bad. It was very loud and crinkly with all this plastic. But overall, not too hard with big giant numbers on them. I've always liked that about Lego sets, that they usually sort out their sections into easy to assemble little chunks so that you don't have to completely open everything up and go through an enormous pile of Legos. As we go into section 1 here, I don't really sort things out. I just like flatten out the clumps and make sure that I can, for the most part, see each of the pieces, because it would just take too much time personally to sort everything out. One thing I want you guys to do, if someone wants to set up a count of how many times I mess up and you see me have to go back and remove a piece or use the special part detacher remover, that might be something fun. So, looking for a piece, there, I found it. Now, going through, for the most part, I had no idea what parts I was building. I assumed it was, from the bottom up. And, this does turn out to be the back end of the car. And the chassis. So I want to talk about, while we're doing this, Legos in general. I have always enjoyed Legos since I was a little kid. I don't remember the sets being so elaborate back then, but they were still very fun, and I enjoyed putting things together and following the instructions, and then taking it apart later and building usually just very plain, boring 4x4 structures, because I was not a very imaginative or engineer-focused child. But I still loved playing with Legos. I had thousands of Legos in a giant box at one point. And I'm sure that many children had fond memories of their Lego sets. If you want to share any special memories in the comments below, go ahead. I'd love to read them. So here's the full basic structure of the undercarriage of the car. I think it was pretty neat how it's set up there. And I'm just assembling some of the axles for what are eventually going to be the rear wheels. I do know that as I am going through this, I just kind of zone out and enjoy the build and don't really focus or pay attention to what exactly it is that I am building. So for most of this, I had no idea what it was I was building. Just, oh, another part goes here, another part goes here, another part goes here. It's very soothing and cathartic, in a sense, to build these constructions. I've always loved seeing how they turn out. Now we're adding some basic flooring and structure to it. And of course we have to add the strongest shape. Yes, I will be playing with these parts over and over and over again. It's just a lot of fun. I also wanted to make sure that as I was building things, that it wasn't obstructing it, that it was still able to move and spin freely without any extra effort. I was pretty confident in it, but I think the excuse is just to spin it around so I could have more fun. Uh-oh. Well, here's the first time that I've made a mistake. I was just zooming through it, spinning that thing around. I didn't realize that I put some of those pegs on the wrong side. As I was building this part, I did not know what it was or what it was for, what the point of it was. I was kind of confused. But once I get into it and I complete it, I realize that it's the front wheels. And we're building the drive shaft and steering mechanism. That's right, play with it every single time you add something to it. Something else of interest that I'd like to see is there are usually always extra parts with a Lego build. Just usually the very tiny parts, just in case you lose one. They want to add one or two extra. I want you guys to also guess in the comments how many extra parts there are going to be at the very end of this series. You can break it down by each episode or by total. And here is section number 2. Dropped a piece there. Now, while I don't particularly organize the pieces, I do like to keep them in their own separate piles, because it seemed to be dependent on what types of pieces and size that they bag them all up in. You'll kind of see me go back and forth between this style of collecting all the pieces in a section before putting them on to just starting to put them on as I find them. I don't go by any one particular strategy. Oh, another piece fell. Any particular strategy while I build. Guess I could talk about the booklet a little bit while I'm building these side rails. So if you've never done a Lego build before, the instructions will come step by step, but don't directly point to where the new pieces are going to. It'll label each of the pieces in the section that you're currently building, but when it comes to put them onto the building itself, it just shows a new picture of the build as it currently sits with the new pieces on. So you'll have to do a scavenger hunt to try to figure out where those pieces go. You know, what's new on this next picture that I can add these pieces to. So if I ever pause for a while, it's because I'm trying to figure out where exactly these new pieces go onto. And it does add to some confusion while you're building. Nope, I have to play with it again. Uh-oh. Here's an example. The pieces were shown on there, but it was difficult to see exactly where they connected to. Or I'm just very blind. That's a possibility. I enjoyed how, as I was putting this together, it really started to come into a more recognizable shape. Even though I wasn't sure what a lot of these pieces were that I was putting together would represent in the final build. But it was still enjoyable. Now this next piece coming up here, you see that it doesn't actually connect to anything when we finally put it into the build. It just kind of sits in there. And I wasn't actually sure if it did actually connect to anything or not, but it does become more apparent what it's for later on. It looks to be it's part of the chair mechanism that slides out of the ECTO-1. Kind of like a gunner seat or turret seat. Putting on my first sticker. Little spring mechanism there. I enjoyed playing with that. One of my favorite things in LEGO is the moving parts. I love seeing how they interact and fit in there and how everything just works together. Now for this section, we get to build our first chair. And we're building little, I believe it's the proton pack. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comment section below. I will be honest, it's been a while since I've seen Ghostbusters, but still a classic movie that I enjoy. But this was neat. I liked how that looked. And we connected up to those moving parts gently. There we go. Extra pieces. Section number 3. This is starting to look more and more like the base of a car. There were a lot of little pieces with this one, and I cannot find one of them. Oh, nope. Yep, there they are. A lot of these pieces have very unique and individual shapes, and they can get lost amongst the other ones. So there's an argument to sorting out your Legos before you start building. If you want to do that. go ahead and fill out more of the back section. Another sticker on there. Very specific and individual pieces. I cannot find this little piece. It was very much hidden among the debris. Yep, there it is. A flat little circle underneath everything else. And you have to play with it to make sure it works. There we go. Still not sure exactly how those square pieces are supposed to go on there, because they have a very distinct one side or the other. I don't think it matters, but I made sure to do it as closely to the picture as I could possibly understand. And it didn't specify, so I don't really think it's an issue. Now, until it got to this part, I did not know what this piece was going to be. And putting it together became more and more obvious. Especially now. I didn't realize what it was at the time, but now I understand that these are the tops of the wheel wells for the back. Now this section out back here ends up being the back bumper. And there was something I really enjoyed about making it. I just really enjoyed how all the pieces fit together and made something look pretty iconic. And our final sticker for this episode, the license plate. I really like the way that these taillights ended up. I think that looks really cool. Go ahead and slap that in there. This is not built yet, but this is exciting me. And here we go. Last few pieces. All right, and so that's the first three sections, first three bags of the ECTO-1 completed so far. It's looking good. A little seat, RTV, the license plate, and so we're going good so far. All right, so that is the first video here of this series. We're gonna go ahead and continue on the next one. So if you like this so far, stay tuned. We're gonna finish up the car. Thanks for joining us as always. Make sure to like down below, subscribe if you want to see the rest of it, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.